Hey guys, welcome to 22LR, where we focus on the competitive side of the rimfire world. I'm glad to be back on the range. It is July 2nd of 2022, and we are shooting the July 2022 Course of Fire. I know it's been a couple of months since I put out a video with one of these Course of Fires. We had some big changes in our family. We ended up moving, so that took a lot of my time. I was unfortunately not able to designate as much time as I normally do coming out to the range, filming videos and shooting stages for you guys. But here we are, we're finally all settled in. We're getting back in the swing of things, and now we're out here shooting July's Course of Fire. Let's quit yakking and let's get to shooting. See you guys on the range.
All right, first up is Let Freedom Ring. We have a 3-inch target at 89 yards on the single hanger. We're going to start standing, rifle and all gear in hand, mag in action open. On the start signal, the shooter will engage the target with 2 shots from the following order: left tire, center tire from 3 different positions, then the right tire. So on a stage like this, with a target as generous as this is at 89 yards, I think it's more important to spend your time and your effort building solid positions on each one of these barricades. Now unfortunately I didn't have 3 tires for this stage. I ended up using a brick as a makeshift tire until I get a couple more tires out at this range. But it seemed to work out just fine and give me about the right height, and it still made that top tire kind of wobbly, and I think that was the point of the stage. When shooting from that top tire, I try to settle into a nice, effortless position where I don't have to use any muscle to try to support myself. The pump pillow is taking up a lot of space, a lot of that void that's created in my body when I'm taking a cross-leg position. And I try to get my elbows to contact my knees to make myself as stable as possible before breaking those shots. Now, with any prone position, it's not always habit to put your feet out and lay them flat like that, but I promise it really does help take the jitters out of your body. Our next stage up is Boston Tea Party. We have 4 different targets at 100 yards. A 1.5 worth 10 points, a 2 worth 8, a 2.5 worth 5, and a 3 is worth 3. On the start signal, the shooter will move to a prone supportive position and select which target he or she will engage. If the shooter decides to change targets, they will need to announce it to the RO before engaging the target. Oftentimes, prone stages are a great way to measure your fundamentals. With prone shooting, all of your fundamentals are going to come into play. Trigger control, breathing rhythm, position, wind calls, judging where your bullet's flight is by watching trace or watching the bullet in flight. All these things play a big part in being successful in prone shooting. A 1.5-inch target for a 22 at 100 yards can be a challenge. Most of these rifles, if not dialed in with extremely accurate and consistent ammunition, are going to struggle on a 1.5-inch target. You might get lucky and get a few on, but by and large, it's going to be mostly luck. This is where really doing a lot of ammo testing can show your rifle's true potential for accuracy. But as a shooter, you still have to do your part. Now luckily on this stage, you have the option to shoot slightly larger targets. If you're feeling a little insecure about taking the shots at the 1.5, don't be afraid to get your hits on the 2 or the 2.5 and just bank some points. So my first shot was a miss, and that was a bad wind call. But as you can see, every successive shot after that, I was really paying very close attention to what the wind was doing out there. And that ended up giving me 9 of 10. Next up, 1 if by land, 2 if by sea. We have a 2.5-inch target at 73 yards on a single hanger. We're going to start standing, rifle all gear in hand, mag in action open. On the start signal, the shooter will engage the target in the following order: 3 shots from the 55-gallon barrel, 4 shots from the rooftop, 3 more shots from the 55-gallon barrel. Note the 55-gallon barrel is on its side with the top facing the right. This stage seems to be, in principle, about adverse position building. Now, shooting off of a wobbly drum like that can prove to be difficult. As you can see what I did there, at first my knees weren't touching the barrel, and I wiggled my knees a little closer and pulled my rifle in to close that gap so that I could create stability with my body and the barrel. Now, transitioning over to the rooftop, the position that I take on rooftops is always the same. I affectionately call it the frog squat. I tuck that pump pillow up underneath the stock of the rifle. I find on rooftops that tends to give me the best stability. Now, transitioning back over to the barrel, again, I do what I can to wiggle myself in there and create point of contact with the barrel against my knees so that I get that barrel nice and stable. Now, I do have a malfunction here. Maybe I was putting some pressure on the magazine, but I had a failure to feed. This is a good time to talk about how important it is to always carry a spare magazine on you in case you need to clear a malfunction. Just drop mag, potentially clear the jam, and then insert a new magazine. With this one, again, I think I was applying a little bit of pressure, or I hadn't stroked the bolt back all the way, and I ended up seeing that malfunction, pulling my bolt back, and then once I realized I was good to go, I waited until I was back on target before I ran that bolt forward.
26 seconds remaining.
Next up is the Redcoats are coming. We have a KYL rack at 35 yards from 1 1/4 inch. We're going to start standing, rifle and all gear in hand, mag in action open. On the start signal, the shooter will engage the KYL rack with one shot from large to small, hit or miss, move on in the following order. Any ladder rung, back of the chair, support side, then any ladder rung that hasn't previously been used. Anytime I'm shooting off of a ladder like this, I tend to lean heavily on my Gray Ops CNC Mini Plate Pro and the Mini Plate Pro pad. I decided to run this and the Armageddon Gear Schmedium with the Wee Bad Strapless Behemoth as my gear choice. Now, as a rule of thumb with ladders or with any shooting position, the lower you can get your rifle to the ground, you're naturally going to be more stable, which is why I choose to shoot the ladder rungs off of the bottom two. Now, once I transition over to the back of the chair, you'll notice I really do slow down and take my time making these shots count. Shooting support side off of the back of a chair is going to be challenging, especially when you get down to those real small targets, 1/2 inch and 1/4 inch on that KYL rack. But if you just slow down, take your time, cleaning that KYL rack from support side is very doable. Now, transitioning back over to the second rung of the ladder, I build a kneeling position, fill the void with the pump pillow. Now, I always use the trick I learned from the guys over at Long Range Tactics. On a ladder, I always reach up over the top of the optic, apply a little pressure from the heel of my palm onto the top, and then pinch the rail of the ladder to really lock my rifle into that corner. I waited until shot 10 to go ahead and mag change. Typically what I'll do is if I have a 12-round stage, I'll shoot the 8th round, and often that's accompanied with a transition, kind of like this stage, and I'll just drop mag then. But I was real conscious about that mag change, so I just decided to do it after the 10th shot.
6 seconds.
That was hard.
All right, last stage is Battle at Bunker Hill. We have 5 targets: a 1.5 at 49 yards, a 2 inch at 62, a 2.5 at 73, a 3 inch at 85, and a 5 inch at 100. This is the bonus point stage, so we get 0.1 bonus points per second remaining on the clock. We're going to start standing, rifle, all gear in hand, mag in action open. On the start signal, the shooter will engage the targets from far to near, and then from near to far with one shot each. Hit or miss, move on from the tank trap tip. After the 5th shot, the shooter must move to a different tank trap tip. Note, this is a no dial stage. Elevation windage knobs may not be touched after the time starts. Only parallax may be adjusted during the stage. On this last stage, this combines 2 of my favorite things: shooting off of a tank trap and shooting off of a tank trap at a troop line. We've got some oddball ranges in here, but it's still just a troop line. Holdovers and understanding holdovers and how to do them really do give you an advantage in a speed stage like this. You don't have to spend the time dialing each and every range, and in this particular stage, you can't. You're not allowed to touch those dials after the time starts. Parallax knob is the only thing that you're allowed to touch. Now, something to point out when shooting a stage like this is you don't want to spend a bunch of time messing with your parallax knob. So I feel it's better to dial your magnification down quite a bit and really pay attention to your reticle to engage this array of targets. By taking some magnification out, you actually get an opportunity to bring most of the targets into focus. And that means you don't have to spend any time adjusting your parallax, leaving you more time on the clock for bonus points.
56 seconds left.
Time for a quick product plug. If you were paying attention during the video, you'll notice that since my last video, I've changed optics. I am now running the Burris XTR Pro, 5.5 by 30 by 56. It was designed with the competition shooter in mind. This is a very feature-rich optic that I think everybody should get an opportunity to check out. Please click the link down in the description below and take a look at them for yourself. As always, guys, thank you for watching. Remember to thank a veteran, because we're able to enjoy these freedoms of going out to the range and shooting because of the sacrifices of veterans that came before us. I hope this video helps you to score more impacts at your next course of fire, and as always, I hope to see you out on the range.